Today's assignment is graphing practice. That's something that I wanted to do more of this year, but unfortunately I didn't get around to it, so that's my fault. But let's do a little bit of graphing practice today. Now today we're going to let Google Sheets do most of the work for us. So let's go ahead and start by creating a Google Sheet. So new Google Sheet, and we get a blank spreadsheet. Now we're going to come back to our data set and select it all, copy, and paste. Now there's our whole data set. Now in order to create a graph, what we're going to do is we're going to click Insert, Chart, and it created a graph for us. But it's not a terribly useful graph. Let's look at our data here. If we look over here, these first two columns aren't changing at all, so they're not terribly useful for us to graph. Remember, when we build a graph, our x-axis is the independent variable, which is the variable that we are changing. In our case, what we're changing is the day, and then we're measuring our dependent variables, which are the temperature and precipitation. So let's try this again. We'll go ahead and get rid of this. And you know what, while we're at it, I don't like the way these look. These are ugly. So we're going to select them all. I'm going to come up here and choose increase decimal places. And now they all have 2 decimal places. They look a little bit neater. So we're going to select just the data that we need. So we'll leave off those first 2 columns. Insert, Chart. And Google has chosen a combination chart for us there. Unfortunately, this is the max temperature and this is the min temperature. So those are 2 different types of bars, and then the precipitation is down here. That's kind of goofy. So first of all, let's look at some other possibilities of charts that we could have chosen. So if we click here, you'll see there's a whole bunch of choices over here. And we could have chosen a column chart, so they're all bars. You can see this little tiny precipitation bar right there. Or we could have chosen a line chart where they're all lines. But I think Google made a good choice for us. And we're going to do this combination chart. But we do need to mix around those variables a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to series. Right now the maximum is those blue bars. And I think we want the bars to be the precipitation. So we'll make those the bars. And now we don't have our maximum anymore. So let's put maximum here and minimum here. So now the precipitation is the blue bars, minimum is the yellow bar, maximum is the red bar, line, yellow line, red line. But unfortunately, we still can't see that precipitation very well because on this scale, our numbers for our precipitation are pretty small. They're right around 1 or less than 1. And these numbers go from the 30s to the 80s. So it makes these bars really small and hard to see. So we need another scale over here. The way to do that is to click on Customize. And then we're going to go to Series. And as we're looking at the series, what we want to do is we want to add a right axis. So if we do that, we'll click right axis. Oh, that wasn't what we wanted. That changed the whole thing to the right axis. So actually, we're going to put that back the way it was. What we want to do is select which of our series we want to apply the axis to. So we're going to do that. We're going to choose the precipitation. So the precipitation is going to get an axis on the right hand side. And look, it scaled it for us nice and neat already between 1.5 and 0. Now, so now we've got a nice looking graph with the maximum, the minimum, and the precipitation showing. Now what we need to do is maybe put some labels on there. So we already have this title on there. So let's see if we can jazz that up just a little bit. That's a pretty good title, but I think we want to add, we're going to remove that part and go in April 1989. Oops. 1989. And we're good with that. And now we need some axis titles. So the left axis is temperature in Fahrenheit. And the right vertical axis is precipitation in inches. And I think we're pretty happy with our horizontal axis title. It defaulted to day. So now that's looking pretty good. We've got some good titles, an overall title for our chart. What else do we need? Let's maybe make it look a little nicer. So one of the things that we can do is here. Yeah, so you can put a background color on there if you want. So nothing too, we'll make it a little bit blue. And then you can put a border color on there if you want. Maybe a darker blue. Let's see, what else can we do? I think that's pretty good. So now we've got our spiffy chart, spiffy graph. We've got one more option. If on your, whatever you're building, you want to display this, you can just move this around, put it underneath, and you can have it right there. Or we have some more options. If we click here, we can make it its own sheet. So now our graph fills up an entire sheet, and down here at the bottom, you see you got different sheets. You got sheet 1, that's our data, and then sheet 2 is our chart. That's kind of cool. And now you got a nice, cool graph of your data. So everybody give that a try. You don't have to turn anything in. You can turn it in if you want to. But have fun with that, and have a great day.